Network Entertainment. This episode may cover sensitive topics like sexual assault, domestic violence, and stalking, which could be triggering. While we recognize the challenges this content may pose, we advise you to prioritize your safety and well-being.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe from the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, Rowen ASH, and a returning Chino Liao for a huge weekend reactions / Royal Rumble review episode of the podcast. We got to start with you, Chino, because we haven't heard from you in about a quarter of a year.
It's like you didn't disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah, doing well, guys. Thank you for having me. Hindi naman ako nawala ng a quarter of a year, man. I wish I was, pero joke lang. But thank you for holding down the fort, y'all. I am back for the time being on the same time zone as everybody else. So excited to get into the wrestling talk and excited to give the shout outs to everybody na nagpunta nung Sunday.
Yeah.
Sa ating Royal Rumble viewing party. There are a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
Asked for a shout out. One guy in particular told me a story where he thought that Stan was me. I don't know who he was or how he could make that distinction, but good job sa'yo, kuya.
This is because pareho kayong Chinoy.
I guess, yes.
That is one of the weirdest comps. I never thought that such a comp would be made. So there's a first time for everything.
So, yeah, exactly. So, thank you dun sa lahat na nanonood. Second floor and third floors of the Skinny Bikes were packed.
Pati mga fresco.
Enjoy lahat ng tao on a very pleasant Sunday morning.
Wait, so he saw you at the party and then he thought you were Stan?
No. So this guy saw me and told me that one time he approached Stan thinking that Stan was me.
Oh, wow.
God damn.
He called Stan Chino Liao, basically.
And this is after I've lost 20 pounds.
Yes.
Shit.
Wow. I mean, I don't think it was a diss for you on your weight per se. Pero,
what a trip. I think it's because you had Chino.
I don't know, man. It's like,
I want to know kung gaano ka supot yung vision niya, because like that's really bad vision. Shit.
I think that was before we were doing
I'm pretty sure it was during the times where we were only doing audio.
Yeah, that's fair. It's probably fair, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true. Kasi, you know, it's funny. Kasi yesterday then, that was actually the situation. Nung nasa queue pa lang yung mga tao, there was people approaching us and nag-approach sa akin yung isang guy. He said, "Oh, are you Emil?" Yeah. Siguro he was just listening.
Said yes, you were Emil?
No. I said no. He
said yes. No, that happened.
Yes, that happened. So Emil, tinuro ko si Emil. Ito si Emil. He's handling the cash and all. And then he's probably just listening sa audio.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Hello,
sir.
He's not watching sa tag dito sa live stream. So that's fine.
So how do you feel about being mistaken for Emil?
That's okay. It's not an issue. That's all right.
Ganito, guys. If you don't know how we look like, please go follow the podcast on Spotify. So that follow button, it's just waiting for you to smash it. Follow nyo na rin kami sa Instagram where you'll see our pictures, our mugs, so you know who's who.
Basta ako, one dude asked me if I was a guy on TikTok. So walang ano yan. Walang mistaking yan. So,
Yeah.
that's easy.
Akala ko may nagtanong pa kung ikaw si Sandata eh. Medyo madala na yun.
What?
Oh, believe you me, meron pa rin mga nagtatanong.
Oh, yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Same nga, di ba? Hindi na alam.
Oh, Emil, I just found out a few weeks ago. We got to say thanks again to our friends from Skinny Mikes and Everybody's Stores and Collectibles for supporting us dito sa Royal Rumble viewing party. As Ro mentioned last Sunday, there we broke an attendance record post pandemic. So 179 paying patrons. So thank you so much.
179 fans. So let's count that.
Hindi lang sa Tampa Bay nag-break ng attendance records, pati sa Skinny Mikes.
BGC pare.
Yes.
Oh, like if you want to include the staff ng Skinny Mikes, pwede rin.
Oh, including natin yung wrestling podcast staff and friends. We easily eclipsed 200 there at the viewing party. So thank you to everybody who came out and supported us. We really appreciate you. And based on your reactions or your early reactions to our Elimination Chamber post, mukhang magkikita-kita tayo ulit this February when WWE goes to Perth for Elimination Chamber on the 24th. All right, let's get the biggest news from the weekend out of the way. And that is the conversation surrounding Vince McMahon no longer being with WWE. Obviously, given that I do work for the company, wala akong mako-comment on this one. So I'm going to leave Rowen, and Chino to set the table and give you their thoughts on this.
Yeah, by now you've already probably seen the news. You've probably seen excerpts of the lawsuit. It is fucking wild. It is like unlike anything I've ever seen. Coming from someone like Vince McMahon. Like I've seen yung accusations kay Trump about how he messes with pee, right? I think we all remember that. Vince McMahon apparently messes with shit, poop, whatever you want to call it. That's a thing that happened. Those are the accusations specifically from the lawsuit. So I'm not making shit up here. That those are the facts from the legal proceedings. So, it's a mess. We all thought it was, just sexual assault. It was just rape. Apparently, sex trafficking. Pa, he was involved in trigger. Sorry if I didn't. That's the trigger warning. But he is involved. Yung staffer niya, and loaned her out to his associates like John Laurinaitis, and Brock Lesnar was even implicated in this whole mess. So it's a mess. It's insane. I never thought it would be like this. So basically, there is not much to say other than the fact that whether the accusations are, no matter how factual all of these accusations are, all of these details are, it's Vince McMahon is depraved. I think it's safe to say whether this happened or not. I think we've seen a lot of examples from before and that kind of prove this. So it's something you don't want to see in wrestling. I think wrestling has been for too long an unsafe space, and I feel that the only thing I'm going to say, because we've said so many things about Vince already, is that I'm glad that WWE did something about it. It's not good a look that they did something about it after the corona accusation. I feel like somebody there knew something, but I won't get into that too much. It's just that it's good this was dealt with kahit papan. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, first of all, it's not surprising to me that there's a lot more coming right out of the bag. To be honest, white men in power, they are really the target of people nowadays. So Vince is not exempt from that list. Kumbaga, I'm honestly surprised na di siya kasama sa Epstein Island. But to be honest,
you don't know that.
Diba? Wala yung pangalan nila.
Stephen Hawking.
Yes, Stephen Hawking niya kasama. But anyway, neither here nor there. Funny quips aside, this is significant again for the WWE because this is the first time we have zero McMahons in power. I'm not sure Triple H still there. Diba?
Yeah.
Diba? He's an in-law. Diba? So it's a pretty significant point in time, especially after the big sale and merger that happened last year. So yung effects nito, while still early, it might be still premature to say, are going to be pretty significant because McMahon's and the WWE have been synonymous with each other diba? Ever since the WWE's inception. Now, I don't really know how this affects corporate structure. I don't know if this will affect the product that we view each week. But I do know that this will significantly damage not just Vince's legacy, but the legacy of his family as a whole.
Yep.
So my initial reaction to this one, so this was like Friday na rin, no? My first thoughts were, wow, bakit yung biggest news always pumuputok right after our live stream? But yeah, I didn't expect that it would be this wild. Unlike Chino, who already expected this. Who would have thought that the Mr. McMahon character is actually like parang the real Vince McMahon? Kung sino siya sa camera, siya rin yung nasa real life. Sobrang wild ng pangyayari that Slim Jim has to pull out their sponsorship sa Royal Rumble.
Back anyway.
But yeah, they came back kasi because of yung
firing
decision, or nag-resign si Mr. McMahon. And that part was shocking to me kasi Vince McMahon is the type of guy na hindi nagpapatalo. He will not concede, and that's what he was like nung 2022. You thought he would apologize when he came out on SmackDown and then on Raw, pero he would just come out, welcome everybody to SmackDown, to Raw, then now forever, blah blah blah. Pero no. But this time, he actually conceded, nag-resign siya. So there's a lot of employees or talents involved. John Laurinaitis and that UFC star possibly being Lesnar. I also heard, pero hindi pa confirm ba, another former world champion. Pero hindi ko na lang ida-drop kasi baka malibel tayo.
Sino source mo? Ba't may source ka pala?
No. Well,
you heard. Who'd you hear it from?
So some random guy on Twitter.
Exactly.
Kaya I don't fully trust it. Kaya hindi ko na lang din sasabihin. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with things like of this nature, may mga lalabas na pangalan. Yan, tulad ng sinabi ni Ro, Brock Lesnar was involved. Si John Laurinaitis was involved. We don't know if there's any veracity to these claims, diba? We only know that these accusations are so potent that it caused somebody like Vince McMahon to resign, diba? Kahit sabihin mong smear job siya or totoo man siya pero unproven, it still holds a lot of weight kasi it involves sexual misconduct and a person in power and even sex trafficking to an extent, diba? So hindi natin alam, pero ang sa akin, ang confirmed lang talaga is the gravity that this situation involves.
Yeah, Triple H is going to have to play a lot of defense on this because it's impossible that he didn't know. That guy has been close to Vince, even though he was at odds with him over creative and stuff. Over the running NXT and stuff. I'm sure he knew something. It's impossible na konti lang or maraming hindi nakakaalam, especially when you're that close to. He's your father-in-law, diba? So it's impossible. Shane knew, and Shane reportedly fought back. So that's a lot of defense. Nick Khan, I can kind of believe na didn't know because he's just a relative newcomer to the company. So made defense pa siya doon. But it is kind of damning that Vince involved a lot of high-powered associates in this proclivities, and then ngayon lang nila ginawa ng paraan after the lawsuit dropped. So should have been dealt with noong unang lawsuit pa lang ng 2022. So it's interesting how they're gonna come back from this. They're not gonna sink or anything because WWE is such a beloved entity in wrestling all around the world. A lot of people don't even care, people, don't even care na this is going on behind the scenes. Like, yes, Vince is bad. They agree that Vince is bad, but a lot of people don't see it as a reason to stop watching or stop supporting. So I'm not here to judge any of that anymore. I think we grew up from that kind of stuff, but at least for the most part, it's good that we all agree on how the stuff we've been hearing about Vince is really, really not good. And to me, I think it's, downright crazy. And I'm not going to say unbelievable, but, crazy, crazy, crazy talaga. Anyway, I think that's all we can say. All we have to say about the lawsuit for now until we have new developments. I think the development we've been looking for then is Vince being gone from the company. I know I wanted that for a long time, and now we have it for sure. Because there's no coming back from playing with shit. Stan, you can come back now. Let's move on to the next point. The Royal Rumble.
Yeah, let's talk about the other big stuff that happened from the week in wrestling, and that's Royal Rumble 2024, which, for all intents and purposes, I'd like to think was a resounding success based on people's reactions, based on people enjoying the results. Diba? We got to start with Cody Rhodes, that final shot of him pointing at the WrestleMania sign and not even waiting for Raw or SmackDown to publicly declare that he was going after Roman Reigns for the World Championship at WrestleMania. Yun na yun, diba? So, what did you think of us being teased na it could be CM Punk winning the Rumble, Roman could be facing The Rock at the Rumble, and then sa hinaba-haba ng procession, sa Cody at Roman pa rin tayo umuwi?
Before that, let's acknowledge how Cody Rhodes acknowledged the Elite with Too Sweet and the finger guns at the end. I legit thought that would lead to a Punk meltdown because for sure he would have taken that as a shot against him after all the backstage stuff. So go Chino, go ahead.
I actually strongly felt that Cody, kasi would win. Kasi nung una iniisip ko, are they really gonna put the back-to-back wins on in the Rumble for Cody? Is this where it's going? Pero when they did it, it's pretty significant kasi the build-up to the Rumble also showed Cody carrying a lot of the weight on all the shows that he appeared on, diba? But WWE is really hanging their cart to this horse named Cody Rhodes kasi they really believe in his presentation and in the quality of his character and his ring work. And it actually just goes to show that we are in an era of wrestling na hindi na sila ng blue ball. Diba? They won't leave us hanging anymore with something like Cody finishing the story. So, nung dumating na sa point na final two to, even if there was like a small percentage in me that felt na si Punk might sneak in and win right there, I still felt that Cody, it was his Rumble to lose.
Okay, well ako naman, it's funny that last week parang I actually picked CM Punk, pero I did feel na what if Cody becomes the next one to be the winner na back-to-back? Because sinabi nga din nila like dun sa hype ng match na yung all the numbers whatever, the last time there was a back-to-back winner was 1998, which was Stone Cold, right? Can we confirm that? Okay. Yeah, so napaisip ako, what if si Cody nga yung next? Kasi sinabi nga nila ang tagal nang walang back-to-back winner, and then they actually gave us that na nanalo si Cody. And I remember before Punk gets eliminated, sinabi ko, okay, I'm changing my pick now, si Cody na to. Kasi I mean, like, why should we give in dun sa mga rumors na pampagulo lang or pampalito? And true enough, we're actually gonna have Cody finish the story.
Yeah. I agree with what Chino said. There is still, a WrestleMania left to go before the story is finally finished. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was already preparing myself emotionally, mentally for a Punk win. Because it does seem like the thing they would do to capitalize on the short term. Like I said, they did that when they signed Punk. It was literally a short-term decision. Diba? So I'm glad Triple H stuck to his guns. I know I've been calling for him sometimes to, acknowledge yung short-term feelings sa mga tao, have guys like LA Knight win the thing, and now he's proven that he is actually committed. It looks, or at least he looks like he's committed to the long-term bit. And to a lot of fans who have grown up on Vince being fickle and whimsical and stuff like that. I gotta get ready to learn Chinese. I gotta get ready to get used to long-term storytelling. Because even if it is frustrating to want yung mga decision in the moment, yung mga hype in the moment, like yun nga, LA Knight, there is a long game, and I'm glad that they've stuck to it. Nung nanalo si Cody, some of the air was deflated from Skinny Mike's. Some of it. Because syempre there were still Cody fans, but for the most part, a lot of people were pulling for Punk. I did a pre-show survey, and Punk got the most cheers. And even though I didn't like it, you gotta accept it. It is what it is. It is what the fans feel. But I think also after people got dumbfounded at the result, they started clapping. So I think it was an acknowledgement that this is why Cody lost last year, so we can get a moment like this. I think a lot of people respected what Triple H looked like he was doing. So ngayon napa-cheer ako kay Cody kasi they did the story right. I feel like they did the story right. Last year mayabang siya, he was full of himself. Now he got humbled. Now he worked harder, and barring kulang na lang yung big climax at WrestleMania, but I'm more into this now than I was last year, and they did it right.
Yeah, I remember, Ro, you were really flipping out when Cody won from number 30. Na parang, what has he proven? What hero's journey is this guy on? And he came back from injury, then he chose to come in at number 30 and win the Rumble. You were so upset. But now looking at the over 1 year long story that Cody has had since he came back to WWE, now we're able to see things from a bigger perspective, where after he lost to Roman, he had to go through that trilogy with Brock. Then he had to go through Shinsuke. He won the tag team championships and then lost them alongside Jay while fighting with the Judgment Day. He had to go through War Games. And then, nandito na, where he started at number 15, basically halfway through the Rumble, and made it all the way to win back-to-back. And I'm going to agree, it's way more satisfying seeing Cody win. And I was just really enjoying it kasi it was the result I wanted. The result I really predicted din na mangyayari. So, congratulations to Cody Rhodes for doing something that no one has done in 26 years.
One more thing. I feel like this was the plan. This was how they got him to agree to losing to WrestleMania and getting him to agree to get egg on his face. So yun talaga.
And the rubber chicken.
Yeah, and the rubber chicken. So I think it's now the fans' time to adjust. Triple H has shown that he's willing to do the long-term game. So you really have to adjust because you will not get what you want right away.
Mm-hmm. One last thing. Stan, the way you summarized yung journey ni Cody, like the way I see it, para siyang Road to WrestleMania talaga, like from the video game. Pero it was made in real life. I even remember nung after ng match nila ni Cody and Brock, there was this camera angle na Cody did this smile, and it's the most video game thing ever. And now parang the way I see it, even when you summarized it na nag-tag team pa sila ni Jey Uso, and he's just going over this, he's just taking these different tasks and different journey. Para siyang Road to WrestleMania talaga.
What if they finally hired yung video game writers na? Because those guys do so much better.
Yeah, sila Justin Leeper.
You actually know their names.
Yeah.
Ro calls them side quests, yung mga pinagagagawa ni Cody since he lost to Roman in WrestleMania. And now we all see, diba, that the side quests were indeed worth it.
Kumbaga nagpa-level up lang siya.
Correct. Saka nag-evolve na siya.
Yeah, so many people were so angry at this. So many people were so down on it. And now, eto na.
And now we're all in on it. Yung mga sobrang galit last year na natalo si Cody, mukha ng gago. So,
including me, by the way.
Mga Immortal, listen to the Underpaid Podcast with me, Stanley Chi, wherein we talk about work-related topics in a light manner na parang nagchichismisan lang tayo or nagkukwentuhan. Listen for free on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or kung saan ka man nakikinig ng podcast. Kita-kits!
Let's talk about the women. Congratulations to Bayley, who won her very first Royal Rumble. So now 3 of the 4 horsewomen have won a Rumble. Bayley won at number 3. Second woman to do it after Bianca did it in 2021. And now she's got the women's endurance record as well. Chino, I'm gonna start with you. Bailey's your girl. How did you feel seeing her finally get that Rumble win?
So happy. She was my pick right away to win. That sabihin natin medyo left of field siya. I really felt that this was Bailey's year. Kasi si Bailey, out of the horsewomen that are still with the WWE, siya lagi yung kulelat, but she also gets the most time with any accomplishment, diba? She was probably the last girl to win a title coming from NXT, but she also now holds the SmackDown Women's record, diba? For being the longest title holder. So in that regard, I feel like with Bailey, only time can really tell how good she actually is. And she waited, she played her part. Kasi hindi naman siya yung most athletic, hindi din siya yung most charismatic, but she's there. She's the role player in the women's roster in whatever role she finds herself in, and she maximizes the opportunities given to her. And I feel like it was just a matter of time before they really awarded her with something so huge as a Royal Rumble win. Diba? I like how they're using the story of damage control as a pinpoint for WrestleMania. I didn't expect it to be one of the main storylines pushing through. Parang mas naniniwala pa kay Rhea Ripley being the main eventer here. Pero at the same time, maganda na nagamit nila tong opportunity nito to catapult not just Bailey, but the rest of damage control.
Yeah, and I'm glad na this was my pick, but this is my pick last live stream, and I'm happy na nagkatotoo nga that Bailey won. Bailey really deserved it kasi like she has accomplished a lot. She's also a Grand Slam champion, but now I think it's time for her to go back to the world title picture. I don't know who she will pick, pero mas maganda siguro kung si Io Sky ang pipiliin niya.
No, Rowan, she's totally going to pick Rhea Ripley because screw the story they've been telling with damage control over the last year.
That's right.
You never know. Actually, you never know. I don't know how they're going to get to Bailey picking Io unless she says,
I mean, the Batista framework is right there. Triple H himself was part of that story.
Yeah, pero alam mo yun, I don't know. Maybe they'll do the whole thing that she finds out they've been othering her, diba? So, looking forward to that. This was another example of them of Triple H being committed to the long term game because they've been teasing the damage control turn on Bailey. Noong una, breakup pa nga eh. Pero ngayon, turn na lang on her kasi she's been the awkward one out. So I like that. They've been messing around with it for so long. Medyo matagal nga. Some people were wondering when they were going to pull the trigger, if ever. This is it. This is the answer. I still wanted Becky to win. I think Becky had a really good, reason to win it, but that's what the Elimination Chamber is there for. So, I agree with everything that's been said. Because of the big story that they are, pushing for out of this win.
All right, let's talk about the returns. Only 2 returns actually from this year, and then yung tipo mga surprises natin from outside WWE. We only really had 1. So we're gonna start with Naomi and Andrade, 2 of whom a lot of people did expect to make their presence felt at the Rumble, given na si Andrade umalis siya after his run on the Continental Classic in AEW, and then si Naomi, sobrang daming nag-report na patapos na siya sa TNA, and then when she dropped yung Knockouts World Championship kay Jordan Grace, who we'll talk about later on, people immediately said na pabalik na yan ng WWE. So what did you guys think when Naomi and Andrade showed up in Rumble?
When Naomi showed up, napatakbo ako. So I was staying outside the bar, by the way. So when I saw the neon lights, okay, alam ko na si Naomi to. So I rushed it back in, captured everybody's reaction. This is important content to eh. And of course, I am as happy and as excited as everyone in that bar. Everybody wanted that to happen, na manifest nila, and we got it.
I am happy that Naomi's back. There have been rumors circulating in the interwebs that say that because she dropped the title, yun nga, pabalik na siya in WWE. I will say that I kind of hope that they changed her package a little bit. Although why fix something that isn't broken? Sure. But at the same time, there are still a lot na hindi natin nakikita kay Naomi that we actually saw on Impact Wrestling. Diba? Na parang she has that little bit of edge to her na hindi lang siya feel the glow 100% of the time. So I kind of wanted a little bit of that in this presentation. But again, I'm judging her off of one Rumble match. Diba? Malay natin kung saan dalhin yung story niya as a member of either roster. Hopefully, this is my opinion here. Hopefully, she stays she stays a part of the Uso storyline. Kasi asawa niya yung isang Uso. So that would be a nice wrinkle in that angle there. But again, only time can tell.
Yeah, you said it. Once they were gone from TNA and AEW respectively, I knew they were showing up. Where else but the Rumble, diba? So, check naman yun. Easiest thing to do at that point for, as far as surprises go. So, no complaints here.
All right. People were also speculating na we might see Sasha come back or we might see Kazuchika Okada show up at the Rumble. And alam naman natin, at least for those of us who read yung mga dirt sheets and the news sites, na Kazuchika Okada still has at least 3 February dates with New Japan before he completely finishes up. Meanwhile, si Sean Ross Sapp, he actually said before na si Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks is likely going to AEW. So what do you guys think of these prospects?
Yeah, I tend to believe Sean. I even believe him when the information gets changed at the last minute. So I wasn't expecting Sasha. I kind of was. I was expecting AJ Lee more. Yun yung big disappointment, quote unquote. I'm not really big on surprises here, but I really thought they were gonna do that because she's been teasing. I think for a lot of people, you can say that Liv Morgan was the Rey Mysterio of this year. I seen a lot of people nakatutok sa screen. They were recording the screen, waiting to get that moment that they can post on social media for the virality. Rowan did that a lot. But they were expecting a big number 30 and they did not get the big number 30. You're right on Okada. We talked about this last week. Yun lang naman.
When people were queuing, may mga latecomers na dumating during the women's Rumble match and they were asking me, lumabas na ba si AJ Lee? And I said no kasi the match is still ongoing. Maybe number 30 pa siya lumabas. Kasi I was also into that bandwagon na we want AJ Lee back. I mean, first crush ko yun in WWE. And I was not really disappointed na hindi siya nagpakita. Pero I gotta say na when Liv Morgan came out at number 30, I think it was a mixed reaction in Skinny Mike's. Some were happy, some were disappointed. Pero it's neither Sasha or AJ Lee. Pero the match itself, it's still incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling, first of all, it'd be a mistake for the WWE not to throw a lot of money down Okada's way here. I feel like the name brand that he brings and the fandom, the kind of fandom that he brings is something that cannot be missed. But also at the same time, Kazuchika Okada's been doing a lot of Impact dates. And Impact, as we now know, has a very strong working relationship with the WWE. So yung chances of him going to the WWE are pretty significant now. Kasi nagkaroon na sila ng the Triple H doesn't want to call it a forbidden door, but there is a significant door that is slightly ajar because of what Jordan Grace did during the Rumble. So baka way din to for Okada to make his debut in the WWE, but I don't think it will, pero malay natin.
Yeah, perfect time to segue into Jordan Grace, who ends up being the only real surprise from either Rumble, proving na, meron talagang working relationship between the WWE and TNA. And I just gotta appreciate how Michael Cole himself put over TNA as a company, the Knockouts World Championship. Pati kami, sinabihan din kami na acknowledge her as the Knockouts champion from TNA. So, there's really that effort to legitimize someone like Jordan Grace for the uninitiated. I know that the people at Skinny Mike's nag-chant sila ng TNA, kilala nila kung sino si Jordan Grace, but I'd like to think that people like us, people like the folks over at Skinny Mike's nung Sunday, are probably still in the minority here in the Philippines or even in the larger wrestling fandom na Jordan Grace shows up and they're like, who's that?
TNA pala dito sa Pilipinas. Nasasagap pala ng natin, ng mga bahay kubo. So, Yeah, no, this was my big holy shit moment. Like I wasn't expecting it. I knew there was a TNA thing happening, but akala ko sa men's rumble, like I thought they were gonna bring back Dolph for the spot. When Chino mentioned Okada coming to TNA and then using the partnership to bring him in, I thought that what if they just sent Dolph to TNA because they literally had no space for him anywhere else on the roster.
You want lang NXT.
Oh, NXT to NXT. That's fucking insane. Or the Ring of Honor to their AEW. So no, it's not out of the question because a lot of former WWE guys now in TNA. Mustafa Ali just debuted in their tapings from last week. Bunch of other guys as well. So it's interesting. I like this. I like that Triple H is doing his best to undo yung reputation of WWE as an isolationist entity. Triple H did this for NXT, diba? He did this for the network as well. He was partnering with Evolve. He did business with Gabe Sapolsky, who was
brought Liger in.
Yeah, Liger. Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy to do it. Vince doesn't want to do any of that stuff. He thinks WWE is the be all end all of the wrestling world, and I like it. To quote the great Booker T. I want to see more. I don't know what else they could do. Hindi ko alam kung ano pang pwede mong ipasok sa TNA. How do you work with that? But I am. Jordan Grace said herself that there's more to come from the partnership, so I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, as an Impact fan, ang ayoko lang mangyari dito is to have a one-way partnership where the bigger company just uses the smaller company as, yun nga, tapunan ng mga tao walang space. Diba? We see that happen with ROH and it's a little sad, honestly. I do like the idea of them working with each other because there are a lot of aspects that TNA can offer the WWE. Things like the X division, which is really good on TNA. Diba? Well, yung WWE wala silang room for the cruiserweights to jump around and stuff. TNA has a lot of room for that. Diba? So maybe the WWE can send a lot of their cruiserweights back to TNA or down to TNA, diba? And vice versa. Sana this is a more symbiotic, I guess you could say, partnership than what I'm seeing. Sana we also get a lot more TNA stars in main roster WWE roles.
The WWE and TNA partnership is something that is fantasized back in 2010, and right now we're getting it, or we got it. Jordan Grace is someone I'm yet to know, and I'm learning more about her. But I'm glad that Skinny Mike's recognized her and knows how much of a big deal she is. And the TNA chants went viral, like in that Skinny Mike's video. A lot of foreigners actually were surprised na, oh, we know TNA, and
you're the only one who does it, apparently.
No.
Hindi ka pala nakakasagot ng TNA sa bahay.
Well, totoo, actually. Wala naman kasi, wala sa TV namin. So I can only access it through the internet.
Yes, Rowan, that was a joke. Okay. Nobody has TNA on their TVs.
All right. I walked into that. But yeah, WWE and TNA partnership. And, oh, by the way, TNA being mentioned and Knockout being mentioned, it's something that you would hear sa panaginip lang. So this is surreal.
Yeah. All right. Congrats to Jordan Grace. Congrats to everybody involved for making that quite the moment. And we got to spend a few minutes to talk about Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. We got to give them their flowers. I know not everybody is a fan of Logan Paul, but these two really did what they could to bring the heat up, even if pagod na yung mga tao from the first Rumble and the Fatal 4-Way, and they were trying to save their energy for the Men's Royal Rumble at the end.
Yeah, I love this. I love this so much. I felt so bad for them because nobody was reacting. So kahit sa Skinny Mike's, nobody was reacting. I forgot to talk about Jade. No, we'll talk about that soon. So Women's Rumble. As someone, who has to, go through a show, experience the highs and lows of a crowd who may not have all the energy for all the matches. I really felt bad for them. And they just were the match that nobody wanted to see. Because there were two Rumbles. There was a Fatal 4-Way match where, anyone could, have a fighting chance to beat Roman Reigns. They were just the black sheep of that herd, and they made the most of it. They fought hard, they fought to stay relevant, and I enjoyed yung finish where Kevin Owens just socked Logan Paul with yung brass knuckles niya and got the DQ. But it's a satisfying DQ. I knew that Logan Paul was going to retain, and this was I think the best way to do it.
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, kahit sabihin mong champion si Logan Paul, I don't really know if he deserved to be in that card. Honestly, like, yeah, okay, gets the Logan Paul siya, diba? So, matik na kasama siya. But is it really more significant than, say, Rhea Ripley defending her title? Or, say, Seth defending his title? Neither here nor there. But dahil nasama na sila, because of it was such a tightly packed card where you had 2 Rumble matches and a fatal 4-way, may magsasuffer talaga eh. Tama si Ro eh. Ito talaga yung naging match na people just had, to gas out.
Yeah, actually didn't get to watch this at Skinny Mike, so pinanood ko lang siya at home. And yeah, maganda naman yung match eh. They really performed really well. I love how nagbugbugan lang sila, and the finish, by the way, it's a genius way to have Logan Paul keep the title without actually beating Kevin Owens. It was a clever finish, dusty finish nga, like what they say.
Mm-hmm. All right, we kind of alluded to us not talking about Jade Cargill, but we can fill you in on that sa Picks of the Week, which should be on your feeds tomorrow, because yes, the Women's Royal Rumble match is going to be part of our Picks of the Week. But that's going to do it for our weekend reactions and our Royal Rumble review. There's more to talk about tomorrow and on Thursday sa ating live stream. Until then, please follow the show at Wrestling2X Pod on TikTok and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. It is at Wrestling Podcast. Individually, it is at Rowiswar, at Monday Night Rowen, at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, and at _Stan C. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do on the podcast. And thanks for catching this episode of the Wrestling Podcast. For Ro Moran, Chino Liao, and Rowen ASH, I'm Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later, weirdos.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization,